Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is April the 21st, 2017. And obviously, I'm really pumped because we have 4 guests on the round table this afternoon. Yes for Motivation is here from London. Chase That Coin is straight out of New York City. Leon Fu is in Texas right now, I think. And Gabriel of Chile is, of course, in Chile, but he's from Vancouver originally. So we got to give shout outs to Western Canada. All right, so there's been a lot. This has been a positive week for Bitcoin. It really has. But before we jump into Bitcoin, I want to just hit on a little bit of a Steemit thing with Gabriel, because Gabriel's got some new stuff going on. Gabriel, tell us about what's going on with you.
Yeah, well, it started as just sort of a little hobby project on Steemit with a fellow Steemian, and then kind of took off, and we found a lot of other subject matters to start talking about, like, because really it was sort of like a weekly news cap kind of thing. But when things slowed down, we realized that Steemit is really just a really good gateway for getting people into cryptocurrency in general. And once they're accidentally, but once they're in, there's so much more that they get interested in, and there's so much more to talk about. So we realized that the greater subject at work was entrepreneurship, and everything is interconnected in that sense. Whether you're trying to become sort of a roaming digital nomad and you want to work from wherever you're traveling, or if you're trying to get your business started and you feel and you think that you can use blockchain technology to help it somehow, but you're not sure how yet. There's so much to go into. So we started a show on that broader subject. So basically you can go to wideopen.world, and that'll take us to the channel, and we're, I think, like 5 episodes in now. So it's brand new. So if you have a project, if you have experience in entrepreneurship or a business or something, by all means, send us an email, drop us a comment or something, and we'll add you to the lineup, because we're basically just trying to get people with experience on the ground in business to start talking to each other and helping each other out and sharing tips and tricks and stuff. So fun times ahead. All
right. And that is news you'll only hear here on the Bitcoin Meister channel and maybe some other places, but do check out Gabriel's channel. That's awesome. Entrepreneurial people. I love it. And speaking of a big old entrepreneur, let's go on to Leon Fu here, because, dude, he's a pretty entrepreneurial person. And Leon Fu obviously is paying close attention to what has gone on this week with Bitcoin, how it is up this week. And Leon, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin this week? There seemed to be like a psychological barrier of 1,300 that people were worried about. Do you see all of the exchanges getting to 1,300 next week? What do you think's going on here?
I think what's driving this right now, it seems like segregated witness is, I don't know if it's gaining momentum, but it does seem like Bitcoin Unlimited is losing momentum. And I think the crash was caused, the drop down to sub 1,000 was because the market doesn't want to fork, right? I think we all agree that we only want one Bitcoin. Like I think that's more important than the actual solution as to whether we do block extension, SegWit, or Bitcoin Unlimited. But I think the market has spoken that they don't want to take the market doesn't want the risk of Bitcoin forking. And Bitcoin Unlimited losing momentum takes that off the table. So I think a lot of that fear, I think this is a relief rally. I think that's what this is. Our rally back to 1250. I think we're around 1250 right now, is a relief rally where it seems like, at least for now, Bitcoin isn't going to fork, which I think was the biggest short-term danger. And whether or not we break 1,300, I think there's a SegWit pump going on right now. It seems like any of the coins, I think Litecoin is leading the way on that one. And so the market is clearly getting behind SegWit, and we already see that in the altcoins. That any altcoin that looks like they've passed SegWit or they're about to pass SegWit, then we're seeing them pump 2-3x here. So I think that it seems like we're voting with our dollars here, or with our money here, that we want SegWit. I think it's pretty clear right now that that's what the community wants.
Yeah.
Those are
I would say support SegWit is the theme of the day here in the crypto world. And I wanted to say all of the guests, I linked to all of their channels and whatnot below. So do check out the notes section below and pound that like button, everyone. Pound that like button. So, hey, finally, the legend, Chase That Coin, is on this show. People have asked for him. I'm really pleased that he's here. And so I want to hear what he thinks about the price, what he thinks about Litecoin SegWit also, because we're going to be talking about that in a second also. So Chase That Coin, take it away, baby.
All right. Thank you for having me, Adam. My personal opinion on the Litecoin SegWit, I did a video on this about this on my channel the other day, as far as what was driving the fact that Litecoin got over 75% and was up to about 80%. I personally thought that miners, because we're in the cryptocurrency space and it's a very easy manipulated space, and I personally think that, or thought that whether it be the miners or whether it be exchanges or somebody picked up a lot of Litecoin, all right, and expecting that the when it reached that threshold of 75%, that they would be able to make a lot of profit. All right. As we're coming into May and Bitcoin, there's going to be a Bitcoin meeting with a lot of big names, big mining companies. I think that the price of Bitcoin will rally until we get the news from that event. All right. Bitcoin, this whole Bitcoin debate is spawning a lot of different things. It's spawning different types of coins. There's a lot of different coins coming out, and their one sole pitch is governance. All right. So this whole Bitcoin debate is just bringing on a lot of different things. So the further we go into it, we'll get some more information. I personally don't think that we'll be done with this anytime soon, but that's my opinion.
Okay, excellent. So now let's go to Yes for Motivation. He was on our very first show that we did This Week in Bitcoin, and now he's back. What's going on in London? What do you think about this price situation? I wanted to clarify, and before you answer, there's some people in the chat that they think Bitcoin's already gone over $1,300. It has on Bitfinex, but Bitfinex is totally messed up right now. They've got a situation with people can't get money out, people can't get money in. We have to look at the other exchanges. Will it get to 1,300 on the other exchanges? Take it away. Yes for Motivation.
Yeah, I just want to say I live an hour from London. I'm in Bristol, but it don't make a difference. But I thought I'd just say that. But yeah, as for Bitcoin hitting 1,300, yeah, I can see it happening quite easily. Will it happen by the end of the month? It could, it may not. I mean, anything can happen in this space. Literally, one day it may be at 1,250 or 1,270. Next day it could be above 1,300. Could be beyond that. I've heard about this Bitfinex thing and the problems. It's not the first time I've heard about these kind of things. I mean, there's all sorts of these things going on. That's why it's better to keep your coins somewhere safe, cold storage. But I think in terms of this rally going on, I think it's definitely to do with segregated witness kind of being pushed forward. Like you guys said before, it seems Unlimited is kind of losing the battle at the moment. They're kind of losing the momentum. SegWit's kind of going forward, especially on Litecoin. Like Litecoin is definitely leading the way with that. It's kind of pioneering with this scaling solution. And also I think as well, with Japan and Bitcoin, Japan legalizing Bitcoin, and also there's rumors of India legalizing Bitcoin. I don't know if that's true, mind, so don't hold me to that, but it seems like that there's a lot of good news out there for people to kind of start buying more Bitcoin and giving people more confidence in it so far. But like Chase that coin said, this scaling debate isn't over at all. I don't think. I think it's going to kind of drag out for the majority of this year probably. But hey, look, it's rallying. Bitcoin still it's been bullish, regardless throughout this whole drama really. So I would say, yeah, it's looking positive. It's looking positive. We could see 1,300, maybe at least by next month, at least. Yeah, definitely.
All right, it's good. Hey, Gabriel, you have any thoughts on the price or anything like that? I didn't mean to leave you out of that. I know you already spoke about your thing. So any thoughts?
I stopped trying to predict the price a long time ago.
I respect that. I respect that. And yeah, yes, for motivation. Sorry about the confusion with London and Bristol and everything. You know, us Americans, we're lucky to even know where London is. It's in
cool,
Britain.
No worries, man. It's all the same. Like an hour away. It's like it's so nearby. No one really knows any other cities in the UK. It's just mainly London, so it's cool.
Yeah.
No worries, man.
Hey, I might see you in. We'll talk about that off there. Maybe. Yes, for motivation. We might meet up in June in London out
cool.
there. You never know.
That would be cool. Yeah, man.
All right. Does anyone have, I referenced the Bitfinex situation. Leon, you're all the big time trader here and everything. Do you have a thoughts on the Bitfinex thing, or is it not? Are you not really paying attention to that?
Well, Bitfinex is based in Hong Kong. So us being a U.S. U.S.-based investor, I don't trade on Bitfinex. I'm not based. I'm based here in America. But I definitely pay attention because the last time Bitfinex got hacked, I think that set us back. We crashed really hard, and that set us back. That set the price back 4 or 5 months, I think, to recover from that. So it's definitely they are the largest, or they were the largest U.S. dollar exchange. But I think they're having I think these exchange hacks are having less and less influences on the price. You remember when they lost a massive amount of Bitcoins last summer. The price crashed around the world, and now they're having more trouble with withdrawals, and it seems to have not affected the price anywhere on any other exchange except Bitfinex. So I think that's a good sign that we're seeing the Bitcoin price become more resilient. I think every time bad news comes out, you see it affecting the price less and less. As you can see, when China, you got to remember, like earlier in the year, China froze all withdrawals in Bitcoin, and I believe that's still in effect. And yet we've completely recovered from that. So I think that's a really good sign that there's fewer and fewer reasons for the price to crash now. I think that's the big observation that I'm seeing.
Okay, yeah, that's a really good point. That the ecosystem itself has become stronger, and when we have these weird events, it's not there. Panic sells don't jump. Well, let's before we address this anymore, I wanted to jump to, and we'll get back to you on what I'm about to bring up. Poloniex with the delisting of altcoins. They're going to delist about 15 or something like that. Chase, that coin, you're a big altcoin guy. I assume you know about this situation. What do you think about this? The delisting of minor altcoins. It is news of the week. So what do you think? What's going on at Poloniex?
This isn't the first time that Poloniex has done this. This is something that they do. I'm not sure whether they do it because of low volume, or maybe they want to limit the amount of pump and dumps that happen on their site. I was watching your show the other day, and you were talking about Shadow Cash. Shadow Cash is the only one that I'm not surprised. They did the merge, and Leon and Ty covered that in maybe a 5-6 part series as far as them doing a token swap with Particle. So I'm not surprised about Shadow Cash. The rest of them I really don't know, except for Bullberry. So I was kind of surprised on that. I don't know why they do this, but it is something that they do. And you know, whether it be the volume or whether it be them wanting to clean up their name a little bit, they have a better, they're the only ones that can really explain that.
Well, I'll say, yeah, this is that's the point that you brought up. This happens. It's going to happen again. People need to get used to it. This is what Poloniex does. Maybe one day they'll only have 10 altcoins on there or something like that. And other exchanges, other minor exchanges, and I'm not saying Poloniex is minor, but other exchanges do the same thing. Let's go back to Leon. So shadow cash, that is what you're now, a few people have brought this up to me, the shadow cash aspect of it. I don't personally care about shadow cash at all, but it is being brought up. What do you think is going on with this Poloniex delisting? Is this shadow cash thing important that it's being delisted?
Yeah. So I think the team has communicated that they were going to do a rebrand, right? And they communicated that they were going to do a token swap, and that's the reason why Shadow Cash is being delisted, is because the developers are moving on to a new project. They're going to do a token swap, and so basically what happened is it was just a one-for-one exchange, and there's a bunch of these Shadow Caches that I think were not exchanged, and they were either lost or people forgot about them. We don't really know why. Like, I've spoken to Micah about this, and he doesn't really know why it's actually still being traded at all, because we're doing this migration. They're doing this migration. So that's what's happening right now. It's not like they're not running off with the money or anything. They've wanted to become something different, and they believe that they need to do this. They need to move to a new chain to implement all the technical features that they're trying to accomplish.
Okay, this is good. Do you, Gabriel or Chase Coin, do you have any opinions on this? I know this is not your thing, the Poloniex thing. I'll just leave the door open. Just shout out if you want to say anything about it.
It's happened before. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not a surprise, really. It'll probably happen again. I mean, it's what they do. They might be trying to like take away that kind of pump and dump image that they got. Maybe, who knows? We'll see. We'll see in time.
Yeah, that's good marketing on their part, because a lot of people just call it a pump, the home of pump and dumps, Poloniex. So yeah, they should try to rebrand themselves. So I sent a link out, and it's linked to below. Everyone should check it out. It's an article about Malta and the blockchain and Bitcoin. Malta is a small island nation out in Europe. And it seems like they're being really aggressive toward Bitcoin and blockchain, or whatever you want to say. And it's kind of exciting, the article, I thought. Like, their government is really interested in this. Gabriel, did you read the article at all?
Yeah, and I found it really interesting because it kind of falls in line with a train of thought that I've been on here for a while. And some friends of mine in Chile here, we're kind of doing a similar effort, but without any assistance from the state. The idea is that getting adoption to really sink in and take hold requires a geographical focus. It requires getting people in a certain geographical area, like a town, to all start using Bitcoin on a daily basis in their local community to pay their bills and buy their groceries and actually, use it like the currency it should be. And when all that you can do with a currency is, buy online games and have things shipped to you online, and everything's all spread out and stuff, it takes a long time to get practical use to actually start up. Like, I don't even really use Bitcoin much in a practical sense. It's just sort of a investment token, for lack of a better term. But to see a geographical region actually adopting it for practical use and making the effort to adopt it as a country is really interesting, because I think once they demonstrate that it can work in that fashion, then other places will look at it and say, well, hey, what's stopping us from doing that too?
All right. And I wanted to say that I got so excited, I actually emailed some people over there, because I'm going to be in Cyprus next week for a while, for over a month, close to 2 months. And hey, if the Malta people want me to come over and talk about Bitcoin, I'd be happy to. So we'll see if that goes anywhere. Leon Fu, what do you think? Did you read the Malta article at all?
Yes, I did. And I've actually been to Malta. I was there a couple of years ago. It's a beautiful island. It was a former British colony. And what's interesting about it to me is that Malta is also part of the European Union, and they also use the euro. They're a euro member state, so they speak English as being a former British colony, and they also use the euro. So if they get any kind of adoption over there, they could be a gateway because the entire country uses the euro for other EU nations to tap into whatever they're doing, because being part of the European Union means you share a lot of the similar financial system, like you're part of the SEPA, interbank transfers, and things like that. So it could be really interesting. It could be really interesting that they could actually set an example for other EU, other countries that also use the euro to follow.
Yeah, in the article there, and I recommend people look at the article because it is a short article and it's easy to understand. But they mention how they want to be the Silicon Valley of Europe, and I think that's a good brand right there, a good marketing strategy.
That will be tough because they are a very, very small country, very, very tiny. I mean, it's 2 islands between Italy and Libya. That's where Malta is, for those that may not know. And it's a beautiful country. I had a great time. I'm not sure if how many people would want to live there full time because it is a very small place. But yeah, let's see what happens.
So yes, for motivation, you're in Europe. So what do you think about Malta and the Silicon Valley of Europe and what you read in the article?
Yeah, my opinion, the EU needs all the help it can get. As a European, it does. It's true. As a European, it needs all the help it can get, and it needs all the innovation it can get. Europe's kind of like stagnating at the moment. The euro is like a failed currency. It's a failed economy. All this, Brexit, possibly Frexit, France leaving the EU. So yeah, Europe does need a lot of innovation. But no, it's actually really good what Malta's doing. It's nice to see countries wanting to move forward and wanting to innovate. So I think it's a really good step forward. I think it could set the pace for the rest of Europe as well. Like I said, Europe really needs some life injected into it.
Excellent. Now, before we go to chase that coin, I want everyone to see the shirt that I'm wearing. People always ask, Adam, where do you get these shirts? It's linked to below. Linda's Gifts Direct. It's linked to below. If you want to use your cryptocurrency, you can use the Meister discount code. Only use the Meister discount code if you use cryptocurrency to get shirts like this. But hey, people always ask. So yes, for motivation, do you have any thoughts on Malta? And even if you don't, I've got another question prepared for you that is totally different than that. But hey, share any Malta thoughts, and then I'll get to you about the other question.
Yeah, I haven't actually been to Malta.
Wait, Chase.
No.
Did I say? I got everything confused. I don't know what I'm saying. I might chase that coin.
Old age there, mate. Old age there.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, one of the things I got 2 things from that article. One of the things that I got because I know that a lot of Bitcoin purists, they're not happy when people in articles bring up blockchain instead of the word Bitcoin. I personally don't mind, because once a person is introduced to the word blockchain and they do any kind of research into blockchain, they're going to understand that the first blockchain was Bitcoin. All right. So I think it's always going to lead. The road is always going to lead back to Bitcoin in some form of in some capacity. And the next thing that I got from that was, I'm not sure if the prime minister himself, that was a direct quote or it was a freehand quote from the person writing the article, but he said that it was not about Bitcoin only. And when these people are talking about things like blockchain and developing on different blockchains for whether it be their country, their business, it's a rough, you can estimate that they're talking about an altcoins, maybe something like Ethereum or Ethereum Classic. So I think that article was good for the cryptocurrency space as a whole. Now, which altcoin or whether it be Bitcoin is going to implement or make it easy for people to develop on their platform, whether it be Ardor, whether it be Ethereum, whether it be Ethereum Classic, Lisk, or whatever, or Bitcoin itself. So the race is on for that. But I think it was a good article for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a whole.
All right. Now, before I ask you another question, I wanted to remind everyone out there, because we have like 100 live viewers right now, pound that like button, everyone. Pound that like button so people find out about this. Hey, the channel's growing. Thanks a lot. Okay, chase that coin. So this is a controversial topic that I wasn't even going to bring up, but people have asked me about it. And actually on the show the other day, I think Mitchell of Steemit kind of was like weary about this. What is up with this Bitconnect thing, man? What is up? People are asking me about this Bitconnect thing. Okay, so tell me.
Yeah, that was crazy, because I was going to bring that up in my Bitcoin story of the week. So I'm glad that you even spoke on that. It's the Bitconnect thing. I have no parts in it. I look at it as a MLM pump. Is it sustainable? I don't think so. It's just a reflection of people having an urge to increase their Bitcoin holdings without buying it. All right. So we have a cloud mining promotion is another type of thing. You know, go use my Genesis mining code, blah blah blah, and then a step up from that, and that's no shot at Genesis mining. Genesis mining hasn't stabbed anyone in the back yet, from my knowledge, but I don't promote it. But yeah, so Bitconnect is just a leaps and bounds above that. I think it's very comparable to something like, and from my research, something like OneCoin is on another level, but yeah, Bitconnect is crazy, and it shot up through the ranks, and it just to show you how easily these altcoins can shoot up from number 400 to the top 20 very quickly once people see a way for them to increase their Bitcoin holdings without buying.
Dude, good points on your part there. I don't know. Have any of you other guys heard about this Bitconnect thing at all?
I just hear Craig Grant talking about it all the time.
Oh, dude, if that dude mentions it, because that was the thing. Someone tried to say, well, Adam, they bring up that dude's name. I'm like, that's not a way to convince me to be interested in it. That's a way to make me like run away when you bring up that dude's name. I mean, oh my God. Leon or yes, for
yeah,
yes.
I have not been following Bitconnect at all. I see it on CoinMarketCap, but you know, it's just impossible for me to follow all of them because every single other day there's another crypto that just pops into the top 30 out of nowhere, and Bitconnect is not one of the ones that I don't know anything about it, so I can't really say what. I haven't been following that one. Sorry about that.
Dude, we should call it the MLM coin. We're gonna have a multi-level marketing coin now. I mean, this is insane. If people want Bitcoin, go out there and buy it. Don't try to loan your Bitcoin.
Didn't Paycoin hit $1 billion once a couple years back? That was a total scam, and the guy just is in prison now, or was prosecuted. I just read that headline. So.
That's what they asked Tone about. He knows all about that Paycoin thing. I don't. I wish these things would. They come back. Yeah. It's horrible. I mean, am I going to keep hearing about this Bitconnect just like I keep hearing about cloud mining? I mean, I have to erase so many cloud mining comments on my channel all the time. Actually, yes, for motivation, you probably have to erase a lot of spam comments also. So maybe you're going to hear about this Bitconnect thing. Have you heard about this Bitconnect thing?
I've heard of it here and there. I haven't really followed much on it, but I mean, these scams are like cockroaches. They're everywhere. And I mean, you got like, was it Das Coin? And it's like OneCoin. It's like the new version of OneCoin or something. There's so many of them. And the thing is, what people don't realize is that the Ponzi pimps get in first before it all collapses, and then the new investors that they sucker in end up getting burnt by it. I've seen it so many times on the internet. It's so cutthroat. So yeah, there's so many of them. I can't even keep track of it. So
yeah,
it's just like,
and this is actually nothing new. Like I've been around tech for a while, and I was just like coming out of college during the .com boom of the '90s, and you know, they were running like, now we have these ICOs, but you know, back in the mid to late '90s, before the Nasdaq, you know, as the Nasdaq was heading to 5,000, this was like 17 years ago. You had things like, you know, pets.com, but it wasn't just, you know, pets.com was probably one of the more famous ones that collapsed. But I mean, everything, you know, companies were coming public when they had no product, no revenue. You know, they were raising millions of dollars, you know, with an idea on the back of a napkin. So none of this is new, and it just goes with the territory of any kind of boom going on. And you can see the same thing going on with all like the railroads, the car companies, you know, in the previous centuries. You know, it's a cycle that repeats, and it's just, you know, it's kind of like just what happens in any booming industry.
All right, so let's move on here. I know that was just Chase That Coin's story of the week. Maybe he'll come up with another one or something. But I want to hear everyone else's.
I have another one.
Okay, well we'll get to you. I want to hear. Altcoins obviously have been in the news. Litecoin, Ethereum. For my closing questions for everyone, you can share your prediction or a story of the week, but also tell me if in the next week or two, do you see any altcoin pumping or any major dumpage of an altcoin? Is there something that we're missing here that you see that you'd like to share? So we'll start with yes for motivation on that one. Story of the week, or an altcoin you see pumping or dumping soon, or predictions.
I think they pump and dump so unpredictably. It's so hard to predict. But I mean, I think a lot of them are going to correct because now Bitcoin is surging. People want to. You got to think the cryptocurrency ecosystem, like it's kind of like shallow in a way. Everyone jumps from one coin to another. You know, one like Ethereum will pump, then Dash will pump. Oh, let's now jump into Monero. Let's jump into another one. It's obviously to make profit and to make more Bitcoin, obviously. But I get it. But yeah, I mean, it's so hard to predict which one's going to pump or dump next because we never get a warning when it happens. It just happens. But I mean, I think there's going to be a few corrections as Bitcoin surges up and flexes muscles.
Do you have a story of the week or anything like that you want to share? Anything?
Well, there's always something going on. I would say maybe the possibility of India legalizing Bitcoin. Maybe that's quite interesting. How many people are in India? Like just under 1 billion. That's a lot of people. Over
1 billion. Yeah.
Over. Oh wow. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of people there. So I think that's worth looking into. That's worth a shout.
Okay, Chase That Coin. You got a story of the week, some predictions for some altcoins. You're into all those type of things. So what's up?
As far as altcoins dumping, I just had to take a quick look at CoinMarketCap, and the altcoin that I think that's going to dump because it pumped up ridiculously very fast, and it's riding within the troubles of Bitcoin and following Dash would have to be Pivx. Pivx shot up a lot. I know a lot of people made a lot of money off of Pivx. And if you like money and you like to keep your profits, maybe you should take them. As far as altcoin pumping up, I would have to go with Lisk. I think Lisk is going to pump up. They're getting ready to go into a full launch. So those are my two that I think Lisk is going to pump and Pivx is going to dump.
Interesting you bring up Pivx because, as you probably noticed on your channel, people like to bring up Pivx and ask me what I think about it. I think nothing of it. Well, I actually talked about it on the show the other day. I thought it was just a troll coin of Dash. I mean, they get a kick out of trolling Dash. We cannot deny that, the Pivx fans. All right, and did you have a story? You said you had another story of the week or something like that, or is that?
Yeah, it's kind of It's not specific to this week, but it's common within cryptocurrency. I would like to talk about the ease of which ICOs raise funds. All right. Just like you introduced me, you said, I'm a big altcoin guy. I do consider myself somewhat of a level of a Bitcoin maximalist, not 10th degree like Tone Vase. Tone Vase is a 10th degree black belt Bitcoin maximalist. I'm not that strong of a Bitcoin maximalist, but I do trade Bitcoins and do invest in very specific ICOs to gain more Bitcoin profits. All right. But it's kind of getting out of hand as far as the ease in which they raise money. ICOs, they use keywords, remittance, the unbanked, just certain things to raise crazy amounts of money for projects that are overzealous. I'm not picking on this specific project, but Humanique. I think the project is way overzealous as far as what they want to do. It is a good idea, but the technology isn't even there yet. And just the fact that they hit on certain keywords, you can raise a lot of money very quickly within the ICO space. So I think we have to tighten up on that. I'm not against ICOs. I do invest in certain ICOs. And the next thing I want to talk about is Bitcoin, just the Bitcoin debate spawning a whole different field of cryptocurrencies, which is the governance coin. All right. I do personally think that governance is important within cryptocurrency, but I think it should be the icing on the cake and not the cake itself. All right. A lot of these coins, their sole pitch is governance. All right. So a rock could have governance, but it's still a rock. All right. So I think that it needs to be the icing on the cake. They need to have a good, solid view of what they want to do, innovation, and then the fact that they have governance be the icing on the cake.
Hey, that is interesting that you bring up the governance thing, because on Monday, Decred is going to be on this show, or on my other show, on this channel. So they're going to be talking about governance. I think the governance thing is going to be the altcoin flavor of the month. But let's see what happens with this Decred and your points about the ICO and Humanique or whatever. Yo, Humanique, man, they are aggressive as anything. They contacted me. They want to be on the show. Obviously, they've contacted other people wanting to be on their shows. I mean, dudes, be careful of these ICO things. Hey, and I see that Ryan B. Hustle is over in the chat. Straight out of Delaware, man. What's up in Wilmington, man? How you doing, Ryan? All right, so I got to get you back on the show, Ryan. Sorry about that. So Leon, tell us about what's your story of the week, ICOs. We were just talking about altcoins. A lot just got brought up there. You probably have a lot to say.
Yeah, I will definitely agree with Shaka that you have to be really careful. And here on on my channel, cryptocurrency.market, we always calculate valuation. We have a methodology as basically like, what is this project valued at, and is that reasonable for what they're trying to do? And so a lot of our analysis, like we also invest in ICOs, but we work really hard not to overpay for projects that we think are overvalued. And hopefully that helps keep us out of trouble. I've been looking at 3 ICOs that are going to start or have already started, and I'm not endorsing them. I'm just saying I'm looking at them right now. That was Lunar, MobileGo, and Gnosis, I think, are the ones I've been working on this last week. And perhaps I'll talk about them a little later on my channel, but that's what I've been looking at. As far as Bitcoin, I think what's interesting about the altcoins to me is that the altcoins have, even though Bitcoin basically has recovered all its losses from the SEC rejection. You guys probably remember when the SEC rejected the ETF. That's when the altcoin rally we're currently in was triggered. If you remember, before the SEC rejection of the Winklevoss's ETF, Bitcoin was just crushing everything. Like the altcoins were going down, Bitcoin was going up, right up until that official rejection happened, and then it instantly reversed. That if you look at the Bitcoin dominance index, that big drop that you see, that was the SEC rejection. And what's interesting to me is that even though Bitcoin's back at 1,200, it's basically recovered back to where it was before that rejection, the altcoins weren't crushed this time. I think that's very interesting. I think that that's something that even if SegWit gets adopted and Bitcoin rallies from here, I don't necessarily think the altcoins are going to get crushed this time. But let's wait and see.
All right, those are good thoughts, Leon Fu. And everybody, remember, I'm not an ICO dude at all, but hey, we've got people with different opinions. I get different opinions on the show. It's great to hear. I know a lot of you out there love to hear about the ICOs, the altcoins, the pivots, all that stuff. So, Gabriel, you're going to tie this show up right now. Tell us your story of the week, predictions, anything you want to say. You're coming all the way from Chile. Tell us what's going on at Fort Galt. Just anything you want to say, man.
Yeah, I mean, people are always telling me that I should start a coin for Fort Galt, right? Because reasons. But I'm so sick of everybody creating an ICO for no reason. You know, like I have no reason to do that because there would be no application for it yet. I mean, someday there might be, but why would you do it just as a gimmick to raise funds for what? Nothing. So, I mean, I don't like to invest in things that I don't have any control over. So I don't bother trading all of these different altcoins and things like that. So I'm not going to try to predict prices. I'm not going to try to look for ICOs to invest in or anything like that. I just stay out of it completely.
Okay, cool, man. Any story of the week? Anything? Any thoughts about anything? I'm
just busy with construction down here. So that's what's preoccupying my mind for the most part. We're actually starting to lay the foundation for the first main building here at Fort Galt. So, and of course, all of the locals in town are curious and interested about that. And we're kind of spreading the Bitcoin gospel through that avenue. And we've got a few places set up to accept Bitcoin in town now. A barber shop, there's a doctor that will see you for Bitcoin and stuff like that. So, you know, just kind of starting small and one step at a time, right?
Awesome. Well, everyone check out Fort Galt. Google it. Really interesting project down in Chile. I know we have a lot of South Americans actually watching this show. So, hey, that's This Week in Bitcoin for this week. Next week, I am going to be in Cyprus. We'll probably do it at a really weird time. We'll have a whole new panel. We have different panel members every week. Some people reappear. I'm glad everyone's back here this week. I'm glad that Shaka Chase That Coin finally got on the show and everything. So I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. That was This Week in Bitcoin. Do check out the notes section below. Pound that like button, share this video, all of that good stuff. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, everyone. See you later.